Series coming to its finale, many fans are left wondering what is going to happen in Season 8. In this video I'm going to introduce you with a few predictions that are likely to come true. Let's start with first prediction, which is a series of new reunions taking place in the very first episodes. Daenerys and Jon with their entire crews are on a boat heading for White Harbor, where they will land and then head to Winterfell. With their arrival, many reunions will take place, most importantly Jon and Arya. We have been waiting to see the reunion between these two since the very first season. We had been hoping for a Jon-Arya reunion in Season 7, but the two just missed each other. This is one meeting that has to happen in the 8th and final season. Jon loves and cares for all his siblings, but Jon and Arya have a unique bond. Jon and Arya were very close growing up. It was Jon who secretly had needle forged for Arya, encouraging her to become who she always wanted to be, not the lady that Westerosi custom demanded. In fact, those two were so close that in George R. R. Martin's original outline, he had them marked as lovers. It's only fitting for them to see each other again before the Great War begins. While it's easy to say that Jon will be proud but also blown away by how much Arya has grown as a fighter, it's also safe to say that Arya will support Jon's decision of bending the knee to the Dragon Queen.
I hope he comes back soon. I remember how happy he was to see me. When he sees you, his heart will probably stop.
Jon and Sam will also reunite for the very first time since Jon was killed. Sam might or might not know Jon was killed and shortly after resurrected, since he was often sending ravens to him at Winterfell, but we haven't seen these two together since Season 5. Sam will, along with Bran, likely be the one to reveal to Jon his true parentage, since Bran is not exactly the best recently with conversation and handling emotional conversations. While the Stark children are reuniting with Jon Snow, the Night King's conquest begins, which stands for another prediction that is likely to come true. The Night King hitting the last heart and Carhold in the very first episode. This is what Jon said when he was addressing the Northern Lords in the Season 7 premiere, which will on the other hand likely come true in the Season 8 premiere. Those castles of House Umber and House Karstark will probably fall along with their rulers, Ned Umber and Ellis Karstark. Westerosi people don't burn their dead, which means that the Night King will probably raise thousands of corpses from the ground. We can also expect to see a familiar face among the Army of the Dead before the end. A White Horror would be the most devastating, but it's also possible that another beloved character dies and is resurrected in the course of the Great Battle. Let's continue with the prediction that will almost surely come true, which is a huge fight between Daenerys' remaining dragons and the Night King's reanimated dragon. Once the supreme leader of the White Walkers placed his hand on Viserion's corpse and basically raised him from death to act as his minion, it became quite certain that the final season will contain some epic fights between the dragons. This will most probably eventually result with the final death of Viserion, which might have been foreshadowed back in the first season. Let's first say that the Night King reanimated the corpse of the fallen Viserion, which makes the Ice Dragon a wight that can be destroyed by either dragonglass or, more importantly for this theory, by fire. Let me also remind you that Viserion is named after Daenerys' brother Viserys, and Drogon on the other hand is named after Dany's late husband Khal Drogo. Back in the first season, Viserys threatened Daenerys, which resulted in Drogo killing him by dumping melted gold onto his head. It's quite popular theory that Dragon named after Viserys will get his own version of the Golden Crown in the last season by the dragon named after Drogo. Another prediction that will almost certainly come true is Jon and Daenerys learning the truth about Jon's lineage. The Season 7 finale confirmed that Jon is not a bastard, but rather a trueborn son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, whose name is Aegon Targaryen. He is the true heir to the Iron Throne, and more importantly, he is Daenerys' nephew. Jon and Dany are heading to Winterfell, where Samwell and Bran are waiting for Jon to finally reveal him the truth. It's safe to say that Jon will finally reunite with Bran and Arya, but he will also find out the shocking truth. Jon and Dany will without a doubt learn of their family ties in the season finale, but a bit too late. For quite some time, fans have been wondering which house will Jon represent once Bran and Sam reveal to him his true parentage. This question might have been answered by Jon himself in the season finale. While having a conversation with Theon, Jon remarked that even though Theon's real father was Baelon, Ned was more of a father to him than Baelon ever was. Jon said, "You don't need to choose, you're Greyjoy and you're a Stark." This pretty much explains that Jon will accept the fact that he's a Targaryen, but he will always be a Stark as well. The king in the north might have bent the knee to the Dragon Queen, but once those two learn the truth, Dany will most probably be the one to support Jon's claim to the Iron Throne. Learning the truth might not be the only surprise they'll get early on in the season. Another surprise and another prediction is Jon and Dany having a baby. In the Season 7 finale, we finally saw the two hook up while Bran's voiceover was explaining that they are in fact related. It's been highlighted numerous times during the season that Dany believes she can no longer have children because of prophecy that was told to her by Mirri Maz Duur. Even though Dany does believe in this prophecy, as Jon Snow pointed out himself, it may not be entirely true. Additionally, so many people are talking about Dany's ability to have children in so many scenes that it seems like Jon and Dany having a baby is not even questionable, but was rather foreshadowed. Tyrion talked to Dany about her plan for succession, Dany talked to Jon how her dragons are the only children she'll ever have, and even Jorah talked to Jon about his future child. Just as Jon Snow stated, it's highly possible that the witch was not being honest with Dany, which along with all those foreshadowings might mean that the season finale brings more surprisings than we hoped for. The only problem with Dany getting pregnant is another theory that has been floating around for quite some time. If Dany truly gets pregnant, could she die in a childbirth? We know that her own mother died giving birth to her. Jon's mother also died giving birth to him, which puts Dany in a pretty dangerous situation. Let's move on another prediction which has actually been confirmed. It's the Golden Company's arrival in Westeros and their conquest over it. In the season finale, Cersei revealed to Jaime that Euron Greyjoy only pretended to be heading back to Pike out of fear, when he had actually sailed to Essos to hire the Golden Company and to bring them with his armed fleet to Westeros to serve under Cersei's commands. This is not coming as a huge surprise, since in the 4th episode of the season, Cersei revealed her intentions to take out a new loan from the Iron Bank to hire the Golden Company to expand her armies. The Sellsword Company is one of the largest and most skilled mercenary organization there is, consisting of 20,000 infantry, cavalry and war elephants. With their help, Cersei will take the advantage of the war between the living and the dead and will try to retrieve some things that belong to her in her opinion. Those things that Cersei has also revealed herself include the lands that are currently taken away from her. With the arrival of the Golden Company, there comes another prediction, which is the return of Daario Naharis. Several months ago, I brought you a theory in which Daario will reappear in the last season as either Dany's savior or Dany's enemy. Dany's last order to Daario and his Sellsword Company was to enforce the Queen's peace in the Bay of Dragons for a few months until people choose their rulers. The Second Sons are known for their loyalty, and once they accept a contract from one side of a conflict, they cannot break it and switch to the other side, since they would be seen as unreliable and no one would hire them again. It's almost safe to say that Daario obeyed Dany's orders, but what takes place after that is unknown. Daario fulfilled Dany's orders and is now free from any contract, which makes a certain possibility that he and his company could also be hired to support Cersei's campaign over Westeros. Even if Cersei and Euron are not taking the Second Sons along with the Golden Company, it's still quite possible that we might see Daario coming back as something that in the meantime he became the leader of the Golden Company. It would be risky to bring a new character into Game of Thrones so late in the series, so if Euron really does get the Golden Company to Westeros, I think Daario is the most likely the candidate for being their leader. This would fit Daario's Sellsword backstory. Let's continue with a prediction regarding the Greyjoys. Yara's intention to become Queen of the Iron Islands was destroyed by her uncle Euron. Yara was last seen tied to Euron's horse and being dragged through the streets of King's Landing all the way to the Red Keep. Upon finding out from Euron that Yara is still alive, Theon rallied the remaining Ironborn left in Dragonstone and formed a rescue party so he could at least try to save Yara. But will Theon manage to even come close to Yara? And if he does, will he find Yara alive or rather her corpse remains unknown? Taking into account that Euron is sailing to Essos with his entire Iron Fleet to bring the Golden Company to Cersei, Theon might manage to save Yara if she remained imprisoned on the Iron Islands. However, if Yara is with Euron, it might lead to another sea battle. In the end, the most likely outcome would be Theon survives with Yara being killed in the process, leaving Theon as the ruler of the Iron Islands. Another prediction that is highly possible to come true is Jon Snow riding Rhaegal in the final season, the dragon named after his father. After the heartbreaking battle beyond the wall, Daenerys only has 2 dragons left, and since she rides Drogon, it would only fit for Jon, the other last living Targaryen, to ride Rhaegal into battle at some point, probably after he learns of his true parentage. A few months ago I made a video regarding the 3-headed dragon theory that already proved to be quite accurate. So basically in that theory, Rhaegar Targaryen's statement in Daenerys' vision, the dragon has 3 heads, means that each of Daenerys' 3 dragons will have their own riders. For all of you that are not caught up with the books and are probably wondering when did Rhaegar say this, I'll try to explain to you in a couple of sentences. Dany saw visions in the House of the Undying in both in the books and on the show, but her visions are quite different. In the books, Dany saw no vision of Drogo and their son, but she did see many other visions, of which one was a vision of her brother Rhaegar saying, "The dragon has 3 heads." Anyways, in that video I also explained how the 3-headed dragon theory has been foreshadowed, as well as which characters might make up the 3-headed dragon prophecy. Long story short, who those 3 dragon riders might be. Dany obviously has an unbreakable bond with Drogon, and Jon Snow, being the last Targaryen beside Dany, would ride the dragon named after his father Rhaegar, but not before the last season. Regarding the 3rd dragon rider that is required to fulfill the 3-headed dragon theory, I said that it would be nice to see Dany, Jon and Tyrion riding the dragons into battle against the Night King, but I also said that it was kind of too obvious and simple to be true.